Alright everybody, welcome back to game number 3 between Tester and Foxer. This is going to be on Blistering Sands, and this is the final match in the series between Tester and Foxer. Whoever wins this game goes on to face Karik Zenith. Whoever loses will have to play OGS the win for 3rd place. And this is once again the G-Star All-Star Tournament. I am so excited to be finally casting the last semi-final game, and we can finally move on to the 3rd place and the grand finals. I want to thank you guys out there who have been following my channel and have supported me and subscribed and, you know, followed me on Facebook. Everything that you guys could have done, you guys have done, and I really do appreciate it. And I just wanted to mention that the HD tournament is on its way. I have the intro is pretty much finalized. I'm actually going to be posting it up on my YouTube and let you guys see it, a little bit of a preview, and so you guys can tell me what you guys think. And yeah, I'm going to be inviting 16 of the top players to be competing in that tournament. And so I just want to thank you guys, because without you guys' support, if you guys hadn't been, you know, following my videos and watching and everything, then I wouldn't be where I am today. So I really do appreciate it. And your support is what makes these tournaments possible and all these casts possible. So let's see who's going to win. Once again, this is Tester versus Foxer, game 3. Very exciting right now. Is Foxer going to take it away? Is he going to open up with some kind of early aggression once again? Foxer obviously showing that he can do it against Protoss as well. He can Foxer Protoss players. He can Foxer Zerg players. Maybe he can Foxer Terran players as well. Who knows? He is just that darn good at opening with those kind of early builds. So we'll see what Tester does. It looks like he is not going... I thought this probe was going to do some kind of a proxy, but that's actually a standard time for a scouting probe. And so we'll see what Tester is going to do here. He's actually getting his gas down right after the first gateway. Very standard opening. 12 gate, 14 gas, I believe. And he has his second pylon on the way. So I think this game... We'll actually see a standard game from both these players. I don't expect either player to bust out the open aggression and just kind of try to bust down the front door, because, you know, even though Foxer is capable of doing that, he's shown that he can play a standard mid-game strategy as well to late game. He doesn't have to win games early on. Even though about 80% of his games are won that way, he does know how to play a good long-term game as well. So we'll see what happens. It looks like he gets his second supply depot down once again. This is, you know, this is kind of an early timing for that second depot, and this is the second time he's done that. So I don't actually know if that's actually his strategy. I'm going to assume it is. I can't actually say, you know, oh, that second supply depot, not the right timing, because he's such a good player. So I'm going to assume that he wants to get that extra supply out a little bit earlier than usual, and so he does get the scout off into the Protoss base. He sees the double chrono boost, one on the cybernetics core, one on the gateway, and the chrono boost on the gateway is always for that first initial stalker. That stalker is vital to holding off any kind of a scouting SCV and breaking those scouts, because if you allow the Terran player to get a scout off into the Protoss base, then all your strategy can crumble. The Protoss player completely depends, Tester completely depends on denying scouting information and making sure he can get that build out without the enemy knowing what is up. So it looks like Tester will be getting his Nexus once again. Now, because we've seen that battle on Scrap Station, we know that Tester is capable of opening up with a Nexus first and then going for a 4-gate strategy, going for the Eco 4-gate. And what he actually did was allowed Tester, or allowed Foxer, to scout this Nexus. So he allowed the SCV to come in, he allowed the Nexus to be scouted, and then he hit the Terran player with the 4-gate. And it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen this time around. Foxer is in a lot of trouble. Tester is opening up with the Eco 4-gate once again, and he's saving up all of his chrono boost. Wow, he saved up a lot of chrono boost on his Nexus. No doubt this is going to be used on his 4 gateways. And it looks like this time around, perhaps Foxer will be prepared. Yeah, he's opened up with the 3 barracks at opening, and this is pretty much the most aggressive opening that a Terran player can open with. So this is going to be open aggression versus open aggression. Foxer here is going to have a lot of Marines and Marauders. He should have Stim Pack and have the concussive shells finishing, and actually he's going to get combat shields instead of concussive shells. So We'll see what happens. It's going to be aggression versus aggression. It looks like Tester scouts his rocks getting destroyed. So now he knows, based on how much life these rocks have lost in terms of health already, he knows that it is a 3 barracks opening. So he knows that he needs to get as many stalkers and sentries and some zealots out as possible. He needs to mass up his opening units, and therefore he'll be able to defend against this 3 barracks attack. I think that Tester should be fine. Based on the fact that he will open with this 4 gate. I don't think he should die to these Marines and these Marauders, but that is a lot of DPS potential from Foxer. And here we go. He's going to walk right up. He's destroyed the backdoor rocks. He's going to get the comsat down. He sees that Tester is very, very heavy on the sentries, and we need more zealots in this mixture. If Tester is going to be able to hold this off, zealots are absolutely vital to dealing with Marauders. So I think that right there, I think that Foxer actually got just the zealots, or Tester got the zealots that he needed, but he's gonna need a lot more units. He's using all of his chrono boosts on these warp gates. If we look at the income tab, we can see that he's actually way ahead in economy thanks to the fact that he's got that second nexus out. So if he holds off this early aggression, he should be able to win this game. Here we go, concussive shells on the way. Note that, because when those shells finish, those Marauders become exponentially more difficult to deal with. I think that there comes a stim. Good force field placement from Tester, and that is going to split the entire Marine Marauder army. But I think that Tester may have bit a little bit more than he can chew, and that's a lot of Marines and Marauders. I think that Tester will be forced to fall back, trying to warp in more units. Those 2 zealots in the front get canceled, and these Marines and Marauders just doing so much damage. Now remember that Foxer has to win this game right here, right now, because he's so far behind in economy. You guys might think 11 harvesters isn't really that much, but in a pro level game, that is a world of harvesters. And what the heck is Foxer doing? He's got 6 SCVs they're just bunched up singing Kumbaya right here. They're not doing anything. Finally, they go back to work. Oh, wow, that was huge. So scratch what I said. It wasn't 35 versus 26. That was like more like 35 versus 20. And Foxer may have just lost the game right there. If we look at the army tab, he's actually still ahead in army count. Now he just falls behind. So I guess Foxer's not quite out of it yet, but a couple of blunders have definitely cost him what could have been the game. He could have possibly won with his 3 barracks attack, but now he's facing a very long uphill battle. He's got to pull himself upwards to the top of the summit if he wants a chance at this game, because right now Tester has 40 probes over 29, 38 over 29, and he's got 2 Nexus, I don't know the plural for Nexus. It's either Nexus or Nexi, but he is at a huge advantage, and it's going to definitely take a miracle for Foxer to win this game. He does have a good concave here, gets a good engage off, couple force fields getting landed down, no more force fields going down. There we go, Tester laying down a couple more to prevent the units from balling up and doing more DPS. I think that Foxer there might have come out ahead in that engagement because of his good concave, and he's going to force a couple more stalkers to go down. Good attack here from Foxer, and this is exactly what he needs to do to win this game. He's going to kill off a couple more zealots and stalkers, and then finally going to fall back. Another stim getting laid down, but oh, good force fields from the blue Protoss player Tester. He actually locks out a couple of Marauders, and I think he may have enough forces to deal with these remaining Marauders. It's going to be close. But Foxer now showing the signs of weariness, showing that he just doesn't have the economy to keep up with Tester, and Tester now looking primed. He's looking seated to go on to winning this tournament, or not the tournament, but he's looking to go on to play in the grand finals. Oh, a couple Marauders coming out here, stimming up and taking out more stalkers and sentries, and just like that, Tester loses some of his forces at the center of the map, so it's still very hard to tell who's going to come out ahead. We're going to go ahead and switch over to the first-person player camera view of Foxer, who is getting his mulage down on his natural expansion. We can see he's still behind in economy as he gets that starport up. Now that starport is primarily based to get the dropships out, so we should see a reactor coming down on this factory so it can swap onto the starport. And so really right now, yeah, there's the reactor coming down on the starport, or on the factory, and that's going to swap onto the starport. We're going to see some dropships coming out, and when those dropships come, Foxer may have a chance in this game. because he'll be able to mobilize his forces, he'll be able to do backstabs, he'll be able to fortify his units in massive battles, and he may have a chance in this game. He's actually caught up a little bit in economy, 42 under 49, and thanks to Terran Mules, he can really rack up the mineral count extremely quickly. So certainly not out of this game yet, but as you guys can see on that army tab, 92 over 81, so Tester still holds the advantage. And it's going to still take a blunder from Tester or some extremely incredible play from Foxer in order for Foxer to win this final game in this best of 3 series. As you can see, robotics facility now getting those crucial immortals out. The immortals are very, very good and vital to dealing with the Marauders for the Protoss army for Tester. We can see 2 dropships coming out of the starport for Foxer. So Foxer now has the mobility he needs with those dropships. The question is he going to move those around? Is he going to try to do some backstabs? But look at this, an observer comes out for Tester. So Tester now sees the dropships. He knows exactly where Foxer is at. He knows exactly what technology level he's at, and he knows to be wary of those potential drops. So I really think that Tester is in a great position right now. He sees the movement of the enemy Terran forces. He knows when to prepare, where to get that concave set up. We also have the, I know that we had a robotic support bay coming out somewhere. Perhaps it got canceled because I would expect to see Colossus coming out very, very soon. Oh, in fact, we have a Dark Shrine coming out for Tester. So Tester is going to try to get some DTs out. The Dark Shrine is still very, very far away. Zealot Legs also on the way, but I really think that even without these 2 upgrades, without the Dark Shrine and without the charge, I think that Tester has enough forces to deal with these Marines and Marauders. And I really don't know if Foxer has enough in order to bust down that frontal wall. I would like to see Foxer do a little bit of drop strategy here. Pick up some Marauders, drop them into the Protoss main, and do some sniping. Try to kill off the Nexus. Try to pick off the Twilight Council, or possibly even the Templar Archives if it's even built yet. Because if Foxer can do that, he can slowly pull himself back into this game. But it looks like he is not going to use his dropships to drop whatsoever. He's just going to macro up back at home. In fact, thanks to Mules, he's actually pulled ahead of the Protoss player in terms of economy. And so he's actually not looking too bad. If we pull the army tab up, we can see that Tester is actually fallen behind Foxer. So guys, this is exactly what I'm saying. Foxer, he can play a mid game, he can play a late game just as well as he can play the early game, and right now he is actually ahead of Tester. He's pulled ahead in terms of economy, he's pulled ahead in terms of army. The only thing he might be behind in is technology. He does not have anything to scout these Dark Templars out unless he has energy on the comsat. It looks like 1 DT will pick off the SCV building that command center, and another DT is just chilling out here. But Foxer will not use his comsats yet. He should be saving up energy on his command centers if he wants to be able to pick off these DTs. Actually, he was actually canceled his command center as well. And oh, here we go. 1 DT making its way into the main, into the natural of the Terran player, but the missile turret is gonna catch it. Oh, the Dark Templar gets its way into the mineral line, but I think a comsat will be able to pick it off. There goes the comsat. And Foxer looking good. We may indeed see Foxer pull out ahead in this game. Such incredible play. This Dark Templar picks up yet another SCV. And so the command center continues to get denied. That's one thing that Tester is doing well. And we're just waiting to see the massive engagement from both these players. They're both waiting and saving up. We can see that Psionic Storm is on the way, but to counter Psionic Storm, we already have the Ghosts down and out, and those EMP shockwaves are going to be absolutely vital versus the Protoss army. It's going to come down to whether or not Foxer can get his EMP off on the High Templar before the High Templar get their feedback and their Psionic Storm off on the Marines and Marauders. Here comes the engagement we've been waiting for. The Ghost in the front gets a beautiful EMP off. All the Zealots losing their energy, and this is a beautiful position for Foxer. Tester horribly getting a horrible engage off. A couple more EMP shockwaves going down. The Templars landing down. Beautiful storm, and a lot of Marines and Marauders going down as a result. I think though that there's just too large of an army for Foxer, and Foxer is going to continue to push forward. He's gonna pick off these Immortals. They all go down. If this Dark Templar can do enough damage, then possibly Foxer, then possibly Tester will be able to hold this off, but really doesn't matter. The Comsat goes down as a result. The Dark Templar falls, and I think right there, right then, Tester is going to lose this game. Foxer takes it away. He has a couple of DTs at the center of the map. Actually, just one Dark Templar just poking away these reinforcements, which are making their way through the backdoor rocks, but I don't think it matters. Tester is going to lose this game, even though he had such a huge advantage at the mid game. He allowed himself to get out macroed by the Terran player, and now Foxer is going to take it away. Oh no, all these Marines and Marauders just doing so much damage. And of course, with all those dropships there, it just makes it so much more difficult to kill. That is going to be GG, and we are going to see Kyrix Zenith versus Foxer for the grand finals of the G-Star All-Star Tournament, and it is going to be Tester versus OGS The Win for the third place tournament. I hope you guys enjoyed this entire broadcast. What a blast to cast, and we're going to go ahead and go straight on to the third place and grand finals matchup. Thanks a lot for tuning in, guys. This is HD. Much love for all the supporters and the fans out there around the world, and we'll see you guys in the next broadcast. HD signing out.